Happy New Year, entities. Let me be the first to say, what a great 2026. This is episode number 21 on this Saturday, January the 17th, 2026. I know it's been a month since we've talked, but let me tell you, some crazy things have happened since we last talked. First off, the CAMA conversion is finally going well. We've got files on in phase 2 and 10. We swore in this past Wednesday our newest board member, Eric Crowell. As you know, he was elected in the December entity election along with Wendy Burgess. And of course, as everything with Tad, if you have not read the news, everything that's gone on, there was an emergency board meeting that occurred New Year's Eve. And of course, Rick Barnes got together with his crew and they reappointed Alfred. So the board has not changed much. That you just witnessed was certainly a nightmare, one of many nightmares I've had this past month, entities. The real date is November 15th, 2025. This is message number 19. It's been about a month since I've talked to you. If I seem a little hoarse or blue, about 3 days ago, for the first time in my life, I've been diagnosed with COVID. So I'm at home recovering, but I think the message I need to give to you is important enough that is worth at least spending a few minutes in explaining. I will try to be short today to spare my voice. And second, I'm probably going to use some third-party videos to tell some of the story of what's been going on. It has been crazy here at TAD, and a lot's going on. Let's quickly name off 7 things we want to cover in this video. Give you a quick update on the CAMA conversion. We'll talk briefly about the spreadsheet error of 2024 and why it's caused all these additional meetings, starting with the first call meeting on November 1st. Number 4, we're going to talk about Alan Blaylock has resigned the board to pursue greener pastures, and that's going to create a entity appointment process, which I will have a lot to say about that. It's going to be crazy towards the end of the year and the next year. Number 5, I'll give you a brief update on the scheduled regular November 12th board meeting. 6, I'll give you an update on how the election's going for most of you entities. If you saw my last video, it's going exactly as expected. Pretty much looks like Wendy and Eric will probably get it. We'll talk more about that. And then finally, I'll tell you about the special called meeting on December 1st, which is our our next TAD board meeting. So let's start with number 1, the CAMA conversion. Next month will be my first year in office. In my tenure, I've identified 6 major things that need improving at the TAD level that I would like to see happen during my time on the board. And the first one is probably the most significant. It's the one that everything is based on. It's the one that cannot fail. And that is getting new CAMA software. The old software is so bad, it's almost like a joke. How bad is it? You've been hearing about it, everything. This CAMA conversion that's in place is what I'm on the IT committee. It's what I'm overseeing. It's what I spend most of my time doing. I sit down and have coffee with Brian every Friday for about 90 minutes to make sure I've gone down to True Prodigy. My entire focus is to make sure that this works, that the file gets created, and that we have good bills sent out, that the good file happens in January. And that's only phase 1 of 10. It'll take all of 2026. Keeps getting on the rails, off the rails, on the rails. I could tell you all of this other noise and how we feel about the chief appraiser. All of that focus needs to be on this CAMA conversion. That's why that's my number 1 focus. If this goes well, which it is going well at the moment, it will continue to be probably the most significant improvement that TAD is going to have. There are other things I want to fix that we will fix in the process, including this rather bad can be rigged entity appointment process, but most of that has to be done in Austin. And we'll tell you a little bit more about that. That's like my 6th thing I want to see if we can fix, but it can't be fixed at this level. Number 2, let's talk about the 2024 cut and paste error. And I think I'm going to let our boy Chandler tell you more about this.
Chandler Crouch, Fort Worth. Appreciate the opportunity to speak with you. I've had a while to chew on this and to try and put it in context and understand what's happened. I think that it's pretty obvious that the actual error itself was effectively a typo. And it's just unfortunate that it was a typo on something so consequential. It's a very important thing. The reason we have evidence that something wrong has happened is because this man's been honest. I also want to say the reason this is on the table is because this man, Rick Barnes, saw the issue, picked up the phone, and went straight towards the issue to try and figure out what's going on. This dynamic, yes, it's a black eye. Yes, it's nasty. It's just another negative headline, but this is way different than the other negative headlines we've seen in the past. The evidence that we have that you can hold him accountable is purely because he's been honest about it. Yes, he made a mistake by not telling you guys. It is what it is. Y'all are going to have to deal with that. I'm just saying, the scenario is different. Thank you for walking forward into this. Thank you for being honest. I just believe that, me and all the people on this side of the microphone, we can say wild things. We can, have political agendas and all that. You guys have to make decisions with level heads, thinking about the future of the district, making sure everything is heading in the right direction.
Eric came to the same conclusion that I did, and it would require a whole video. Did it change outcome? No, it didn't. But that doesn't change the fact that it probably should have been caught and, more importantly, communicated and reported out. But it is significant to know it didn't change outcome, because obviously people have different opinions about how that is. Take a look at
But
this.
my motion is to terminate Mr. Bobbitt effective immediately.
It's been moved that we terminate the chief appraiser immediately. Is our second? Hearing none, that motion dies. Is there any more motion?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
Obviously, there's lots of discussion and clarity that needs to be done for investigation for the public. I recommend that we table this issue until our next board meeting on November the 12th at 9 a.m.
Number 4 is if things weren't crazy enough, our boy Alan Blaylock has resigned and is now going to greener pastures. So that will be a weird appointment process from which in the January meeting, the entities have until December 25th, which they'll move to December 26th because 25th is Christmas, to nominate one person. Then at our next board meeting, which should be in January, Eric would get sworn in and we as a board would pick somebody. That's how the normal process will go. But based on the fact that special meetings have been called while I'm on vacation, and based on the fact that most of us will be on vacation on New Year's Eve or New Year's Eve, I have a feeling that you will see some interesting politics come into play. Questionable politics on whether or not Alan could get to vote for his own seat and whether or not a candidate that will be put in that seat could get to vote on it. It's going to be crazy. I don't know what else to say about that. There's really nothing we can do about that, but it's just going to play out. Will it play out the way it should and be done in January, or will we cut corners and do politics involved and have it done under the carpet before at the end of the year, which is completely unnecessary, but that's my opinion. So, number 5, how did the November 12th board meeting go? Went fairly well. Probably the biggest issue is one that I talked about. We're debating about whether or not we should get into the business of having fleet vehicles. While it probably could save us some money, I think it's a little hasty and quick and a dramatic impact on staff pay. Here's what I had to say about that.
Up for discussion?
Yes.
Okay. As a board member that always looks long-term for unintended consequences and for public information, board, I want to turn your attention to an email we received from Mr. William from staff's perspective. Again, first off, I want to say I like this idea. I like that we're pursuing ideas that save money. I want to say that twice. But we can't do things in haste because there may be some unintended consequences that happen because of it. Things that were pointed out from staff, which are concerning to me, is that number 1, which you heard Mr. Bennett say, we're not currently prepared for long-term storage. We currently don't have management in place to take care of these things. We currently have contracts in place with key employees that currently depend on this reimbursement money that have negotiated with us to be a part of it. The reason this hits home to me is because I am overly involved in the CAMA conversion And one of those key people is significantly impacted by this. My suggestion is to slow it down. We currently don't have this in budget. I think this is not necessarily a terrible idea, but I think it needs to go into the next budget cycle. William pointed out about 9 points from staff pushback of areas of concern about us hastily implementing this. Again, we don't need to go through them all, but I think he makes some very valid points. And just like we said about implementing things, it just needs to be done slowly. And I think, board, we really need to think about some unintended impacts on current things that we are currently have in place, like the CAMA conversion. We would need to phase things in because this starts affecting people's pay.
The final thing is number 6. It's November 15th. It's exactly the middle of the entity election. Started on October 15th, ends on December 15th. I'm going to attempt to share my screen and show you where we are on the election. Wendy is in first place with 396. Alfred's in second place with 261. And Eric's in third place with 120. I could tell you, as somebody that follows this very closely, this is of no surprise to me. I'm going to put it here on the left, but basically the first candidate, probably Wendy, will need 700 votes. Once she gets 700 votes, quit voting for Wendy and vote for Eric. Second place candidate needs 500 votes, so your magic numbers are 700 and 500 for this election. I don't suspect any major surprises. Everybody's been voting despite the noise accordingly, and that's probably how that entity election will go in itself. All right, finally, we do have, as you heard me mention, our next board meeting is on December 1st, and it will only deal with the results of the finding of the investigation regarding the chief appraiser in the 2024 election. After that, our next scheduled board meeting will be in January. I want to wish you guys a very, very happy Thanksgiving. Say a little prayer for me. I'm recovering, and hopefully I'll be back to full speed within the next couple of days. I appreciate you guys and all that you're doing. Please pay attention, vote accordingly, and look forward to talking to you later.